Hey now, welcome to the Dirty Side of the Track, America's leading Formula One podcast. That's Rob, I'm Brian. Today marks the beginning of the interminably long F1 off-season. How you doing, Rob?
Worst introduction to an award show ever.
Oh, we're excited about the awards.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, it's the beginning of the end of season. But before we get there, Brian, we have our Dirty Side Awards to give out. So come on, a little bit more hype over there would be
It is
appreciated.
time for the Dirties.
The Dirties. We've got to work on that name. It doesn't
It is time
some
for the... Okay.
right. So yes, no race to review, no race to preview. But many awards to give out. Brian has gone crazy for an end of season roundup. There's some videos in the vault, and there's a little bit of news to touch on. So let's jump in with the news. So, after 20 years, one Helmut Marko is departing Red Bull at the end of 2025. So, I guess in what, about 16, 17 days' time?
About so, yeah.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of people that seem to be that sad to see him go. There's a lot of people that are excited that rumors that we broke on this pokey little pod many months ago now, these rumors that Seb is going to come and take that ambassador role at Red Bull. That's popped its head up again with people, please let this be the time that Seb comes in. And then there's this rumors about he signed a driver without permission of the Red Bull hierarchy, one of the youngsters into the Red Bull driving program, and they had to spend a lot of money to get rid of the guy. I didn't take all the details down, but that was the gist of it. So.
Yeah, that was the rumor, as well as now apparently he has a quote out that said if Horner had been sacked earlier, Max would have won the title. I mean, it's just, I'm good for Red Bull. I'm cheering for them for the future. I'm happy to see Helmut Marko go. It just feels like the past sometimes needs to stay in the past, and let's just leave him there. And thank you for everything he did for Red Bull and the drivers who came through. Next.
Talking of next story. This one makes me angry every year.
Every year
without
it
fail,
gets
this
you
makes
every
me
year
angry.
since I've known you.
Yeah. So Lando gets his World Drivers' Title trophy at this stupid FIA gala where he has to dress up like a penguin, and it's the world's rubbishest TV event. And he comes on looking awkward, and they give him the trophy, and it's like, would they do the awarding of the Super Bowl or the World Cup at like an NFL gala or a FIFA gala a week later? No, they wouldn't, because people want to see the big prize being given out. Now, just like in the Premier League, if someone wins it a few games before the end, they'll honour it, but then they'll still kind of usually do the big presentation at the final home game of the season, so that the fans know they're going to see the thing that they've been watching all year get given to the team or people they've been rooting for all year. Whereas in F1, no, we don't want any of that. We don't want people that have watched races all year. Even if, like, say, someone wraps it up early, like Max last year, they could still do at the final race of the season, do the podium, and then award the trophy to both constructors and driver. It's what we as fans want. We don't want to see some crappy gala. Anyway, end of rant for about the 15th year running.
I mean, I agree with you. It's not hard to bring the trophy around when you see someone's in shot of possibly winning it. And those red chairs that they put Max on in Japan years ago when he wasn't sure he won, partial points and all this jazz. And then did I win? That was stupid. Let's just give the trophy. I agree with you. And you know what?
Give it at the final race. Give it at the final race.
No,
like, do
even
it
better.
After...
Give it when they win it. And then at every race subsequent, if you're good enough to win it early, you should be allowed to then celebrate at the end of every race with your championship trophy. Yes, like a wrestler with a belt. You should be like a...
Yes, you should give out all of the podium prizes to other drivers for the rest of the season. But under one arm, you've got the world trophy, and the other arm, you're putting medals around people's necks, and then just making people kiss your trophy as you walk past.
Exactly. And even if you're not on the podium, when they're all celebrating, you just stand in the corner holding your world championship trophy. Speaking of standing in the corner, Jack Doohan has crashed for the third consecutive day at the same Suzuka corner during Super Formula testing. 3 days, 3 crashes, same corner, Jack Doohan. That's not good. And we're going to actually talk about Doohan in a little bit because he made the 2025 Destructors Championship. And you say, well, didn't Jack only run a handful of races? Yeah. He still made
So
it
he must
pretty
be.
high up.
So he must be doing good at something.
He's doing good at that for sure. Rob found this one, and it pulled me in very hard. Honda unveiled the sound of their 26 engine on Instagram. It's gotten a lot of praise. The 1.6-liter turbo V6 was recorded on the test stand. You can kind of hear as it rips through the revs really fast through the revs, and then the downshift, lightning quick burbles. There's an Instagram reel. I listened to it many times. I loved it. And then
If you click on it now, we could actually play the audio, couldn't we?
well, it would take me a while to get through there. But anyway, Fernando.
Click the link, man.
All right, this is what happens
what
when Rob
URLs.
tries. This is what happens when Rob tries to.
Let's freestyle it.
I'm clicking all the way through. This is what happens when Rob tries to make something happen. I'm still clicking to make sure we have audio.
You only have to click. You only have to click once. Oh.
So, that obviously is music to Fernando Alonso's ears, because it took me a minute to remind myself, who's going to get that Honda engine next year? It's not going to be Red Bull. So who's getting that? And a quick reminder of who's getting which engines for next season. Red Bull has their Red Bull Ford powertrains. Mercedes, obviously a Mercedes, Ferrari a Ferrari. McLaren stays with Mercedes. As I already referenced, Aston Martin will have that beautiful sounding Honda engine. Alpine is no longer using the Renault. They'll be with Mercedes. Racing Bulls, as you may expect, in the Red Bull Ford powertrain. Haas has Ferrari still. Williams has Mercedes still. Cadillac's working to develop their engine, but they will be using a Ferrari for the first few years. And then there's Audi, and that's the one that worries me the most, and I don't know why. Like, the team's first F1 engine in their first year, and I recognize the Sauber carryover, so it's not really first, but still it's first. And what happens if that thing's just a mess? What if they made a Renault out of it? Like, I don't understand. Isn't there like some risk? Cadillac's like, yeah, we'll just use a Ferrari for a while until we figure it out.
Well, you mean like Red Bull using that Ford powertrain that's been used for years as well?
At least Red Bull has kind of partnered with Honda in the way that they made stuff happen the last few years. It wasn't just a Honda. It was the Red Bull Honda powertrain. So they were like,
but still brand new powertrain on the grid, right? Just because Red Bull will stand in the corner and go, no, don't make it like that. Make it like this.
Make it faster. More power.
Make it faster.
Like Clarkson.
How do you feel like they were announced about a decade ago as coming into F1 and taking over from Sauber? So they've had the most time, it feels like, to prepare for this. Actually, I was thinking Ford, I don't know. You might be right. I just thought Ford was newer than Audi for some bizarre reason, but maybe they're not.
I mean, Ford's been making, racing engines for quite some time. I guess Audi has too, but Ford is pretty good at it. I don't know. I'm curious to see.
The Audi Quattro would want a word if you don't think that Audi is very good at making...
Yeah, but that's like a personal car engine versus...
No, rally engine. Rally, World Championship Rally.
Yeah, but I mean, that's... All right. We'll find out, won't we? I'm not putting money on it. I'm not putting money on it because I'm already paying off all my bets from this year, so...
Then we got one which started off of me wanting to poke fun at MBS. So he's as part of the Concord Agreement, they've stuck an extra little piece in there, and it says each car must bear the FIA logo in either blue or white with a height of at least 75 millimeters. The logo must be positioned on the top of the nose or on either side of the nose and be visible from the side of the car. So even if you put it at the top of the nose, it's got to be visible from the side. So I'm not quite sure how that works. It's the top side. Anyway, lots of people jumped in and, typical Mohammed Ben, whatever his name is, going on an ego trip. And I was like, well, actually, this is just... I looked into it. Every car this year, apparently, apart from Mercedes... I might be wrong on that, but that's what social media was saying. Every car apart from Mercedes carried the FIA logo this year. All of them different sizes, different positions. So this is the FIA just wanting their brand in a consistent way on all the cars. Every Premier League team in England has to have the Premier League badge on their shirt of their jersey. Most big sport things do carry the badge of the division, the league, the whatever you want to call it, right? So I'm actually not really thinking this is too much of an MBS ego trip, but what did make me laugh was when people said, this is just the first step. This Concord Agreement is that it's the FIA logo in the right size. Next year, it's going to be his face.
Now, that is funny, But the whole complaint about the FIA logo, no. I mean, like the NFL football is called the Duke, but it says the NFL all over it. And the jerseys the Packers wear, for example, my favorite team with a big game this afternoon. I mean, they got the NFL shield all over that too. Yeah. So yeah. I don't think that's that big a deal. Now, if they put his face on it, we could have a conversation about that. All right, news-wise, shall we move to the vault?
I think we should.
So I am excited for the vault this week. Not that I'm not excited for it every week. Don't read into the converse of that. But this week there were a couple videos that kind of just tickle my fancy. And they're sandwiched around a turd. So since it's named after the thing in the middle, well, you know what that is. It's a turd sandwich. The bread, though, is fantastic. Alex Albon reviews the Komatsu PC238 excavator on the Atlassian Williams Racing Channel. 7 minutes. Yeah, Rob's making faces. This is so good. Every year, every team works their sponsors into their title sponsors and big sponsors into a video somewhere. Last year, Williams did something very similar, where they had Alex and Franco jabbering away as they were driving big dump trucks. And it was good, but Franco was really going to town talking. This time, it's just Alex driving the PC238 excavator, and he describes it, and it's just fun. It's like Alex having fun goofing around with a massive digger dump truck situation. Loved it. I'm actually going to go to the other part of the bread and then come back to the middle. The F1 Rookie Season Review, Formula One Channel, 13 minutes, so good. So good. These rookies have really brought a lot to the season, in my opinion. The personality, their inexperience, but then their desire to learn, the talent they all have, which at times is too raw and at other times is startlingly amazing. This video is fun. It's 13 minutes of them bantering, 4 of them at least, bantering back and forth. And it reminds me of, what was it, probably the 2019? When were Lando, George, and Alex rookies? 19 or 20?
Yes.
Yes, 19 or 20. I think it was 19, and they did a whole big video where they were doing PowerPoint presentations, who should be Rookie of the Year and such. It was great. So I recommend this one as well. The one I don't recommend, the one that we should not really talk about, is Working 9 to Drive Episode 2. This is on the Visa Cash App RB channel. We talked about this. They did the Working 9 to Drive Episode 1, and it was trying to be The Office, and everybody in it does what they're supposed to do. Isaac and Liam are funny, the actors they have are funny, but the script isn't good. And they're trying too hard to make it The Office, and they're just staring at the camera randomly, and it's just not. And this is Episode 2, and they must have gotten the feedback that Episode 1 was horrible, because it's shorter, and it's still bad. Don't go watch it. And we have one thing in the vault for later. I'll explain what that means. It's the first ever. We'll come back without opening and closing the vault, but we'll get to that when we cross it. Rob, any other videos you'd like to highlight before we officially close the vault?
No, you can close the vault up for one last time this year.
Well, I mean, we're still recording next week, and
Well, are we? Aren't we doing 2 flashback episodes now?
No, there's an episode next week.
Oh, is there? I couldn't remember when we were. Well, then I'll save my for one last time this year for next time then. For some bizarre reason, I thought we were taking the 21st and the 28th off, but
I thought it was the other two.
Because then we'd hit the New Year running on the 4th. But that's fine.
Well, we can debate. Regardless of when we're on again next, the fantasy wrap-up was amazing. I gotta say this, I'm incredibly impressed. We've had so many content creators on here, from actual Formula Fantasy Hub Rob to Fantasy HQ Fantasy HQ Adam, who have both been on multiple times, friends of the show, friends of I think becoming friends of ours, and they're some of the leaders in the clubhouse in terms of great content. In our league is also F1FantasyTools.com, which I've been using forever. They are amazing. Well, our league winner, congratulations to Gavin, 44th gear. What a league. He finished 2nd in the world, and the person who beat him was on a team 2. So Andy Tails, who was 23rd in the world a couple years ago, basically says that Gavin is the world champion, and I agree. And Gavin reached out. We sent him a T-shirt here shortly. He's got to send us his shipping info, but we just got back to him. And then if you look at the top 10, So, Gavin, congratulations. The Dirty Side League, pound for pound, we've got the overall world champ or number 2, depending how you look at it.
I don't understand that point. What was the what?
Andy's point is your team 1 is the one that matters, not your
Not if
team
you don't
2.
enter it into. Why give people 3 if you? Okay,
You
that
work
sounds
with
like a
Andy
little
on
bit
that
of
on
a
the Discord.
pedantic claim.
That's
there,
why
okay.
I mentioned it and gave him second, but also Andy's first. Yank the Mic Michael, Switch to Plan B Michael Cronje, FantasyTools.com, the Kurdish Boy Dayhen, who we talked about so many times throughout the races, Papaya Rules Pato, Box1 Patrick, Formula Fantasy Hub Rob, Sangaucho Asir, Fan Amp Fantasy HQ Adam. Those are our top 10.
So
I don't think you can find
Rob beat Adam then.
Rob beat Adam. I don't think you can find a better top 10 in any league, and we may have not the world's largest league, but hugely impactful. I finished 21st, about, 250 points behind Adam, and then Rob finished 28th, another
I love how you give your
behind
gap to Adam and not your gap to actually the winner of our league.
Well, but it's 4,700 points to
Yeah,
Gavin.
I'm going to pick a random team that I was sort of close to and say I finished that far behind.
I was 10th.
Yeah,
and 21st.
I mean, as you know, it's the nail in the coffin for me for fantasy this year was when Fantasy Premier League came back, and then I was reminded how fun it is to pick people that you think are going to do well that week rather than working out some algebra equation for the previous 3 weeks. So, yeah, my interest really waned at about, I think, August when the Premier League came back. I was like, it's so much more fun to play a game where I can pick people who I think are going to do well this week.
Yeah. Agreed.
So I'm hoping they can tweak, because we've been doing the Dirty Side League for a couple of years now, and it is really good fun. And we've kind of had the differences of way they've done it and the scoring and the changes that come out this year. And there was the one horrible year when when the pricing almost either didn't make sense or I can't remember if it didn't move or if it was all over the place and was totally unpredictable. There was some horrible pricing.
There was
one year.
2 years ago. There was a template. Everyone played the same team, and there was no differentiation. It's basically one of the years.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking more about the valuations. And then this year they tried to bring
where
a
they never
different thing
changed.
to it.
They never changed. They barely moved.
That's okay. It was that then. It wasn't that they were all over the map like the stock market. They were just static. And if they're static, hence the template kind of stays and takes hold because no one can do anything. So I applaud them for trying it. It's just no one really wants to look in the rearview mirror and look about what drivers did 3 races ago. You want to look forward. So a little tweak next year, guys. I think it's close. It's close to being chef's kiss. That will be my request for next year. Sort the valuations out and give us a game where we look forward, not backwards.
Yeah, and I like to apologize to our league. I finished 13,000 in the world out of 2.7 million. Still puts me in the top percent, but it's not as good as my 333rd from a couple years ago.
It's like 4 years. You didn't even do that when I met you, Brian. So we're about to go into our 5th year now. So at some point,
couple years ago, it just happened yesterday.
Just happened yesterday. Oh my gosh! I swear you're gonna get a tattoo of that.
I already have one. 333rd in the world. All right, time for some stats as we close out the season stat-wise. If you thought I was going to use anything other than Slap House, the full long version for the 2025 Sap-Stats edition, you were wrong. Oh, man, this is great. So, as Rob said, we do have some great stats here to close the season. First, some of them from Abu Dhabi. So, obviously, Max won the race, but lost his world championship title after 1,457 days running. Yeah, he's so good. And there's rumors out there, what number will he go to? Back to 33. Someone said, what about, other numbers out there like 3? There's other opportunities. We'll find out what he goes to, and we'll see if Lando goes to 1 or stays with 4. There's
I think he's already confirmed. He's already confirmed 1, hasn't he?
He was signing as 1, but I don't know if we've seen it beyond.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
Well, Lewis never did. Lewis always stayed 44.
Lewis never did. He ran it once, I think, and then went back to it. But I just think this is your one shot. You might not ever win the world title ever again. and you got a whole year where you can have the numero uno on your car. It's
Yeah.
just do it. Your brand, your number 4 brand will stay forever. In any way, probably make twice the money because you can keep releasing 4 merch with your world logo on it, and then sell
No.
a whole bunch of merch with number
Oh,
1 on it. It's like a double dip.
I like it.
Um, but I think
Uh,
you do. I think you drive with number 1 like Max did, right? And then he'll go back to. I think I think he was going to switch to number 3 because I think they're saying that Danny Rick running the 3 is long enough for go now that Max can go. Because Max always wanted 3 because that was his dad's number, I think, and because Danny Rick had got it, he went 33 instead.
yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out.
So
It
yeah,
was his 51st win as world champion. We've talked about that when he hit 50 and watching that. It was his 10th consecutive podium to finish to end the season. And interestingly, in the first 14 races, he scored just 5 podiums. 14
finished
races,
strong.
5 podiums. Last 10, all podium. That's
Yep.
amazing. He was the championship runner-up by only 2 points, the closest margin since the current points format was established in 2010. If you remember, in 2009, it was far less points per race. 2010, they came to this method, and I had to do a little thinking. Weren't Max and Lewis tied in 21 going into Abu Dhabi? Yes, but
Yeah.
it's 25 and then 18, and so obviously one was second, and there would have been a 7-point delta. It's the 11th consecutive Abu Dhabi Grand Prix to be won from pole, a new F1 record for any venue. So please fix the track. It was Verstappen's 8th victory of 2025, meaning he won the most Grand Prix for the 5th consecutive year. Norris's P3 finish in Abu Dhabi means he becomes the 35th driver to win the Formula One World Championship. 35 drivers have ever won the Formula One World Championship. And you know we had one of them on here.
This is Jacques Villeneuve, and you're listening to the dirty side of the track.
Thanks, Jack. And we're going to have one soon here when Valtteri wins with Cadillac.
This is Valtteri Bottas, and you're listening to the dirty side of the track.
So, I mean, we're just lining up champions here. Lando,
And then Lando will have to come on once
Yeah,
he's
Lando has
you
to.
know, come on, Lando, what are you doing? Get on the dirty side.
There have been 7 previous McLaren champions: Fittipaldi, Hunt, Lauda, Prost, Senna, Hakkinen, and Lewis Hamilton in 08. And he's the 11th world champion from Great Britain, with the 21st championship for British driver overall. And
Not bad for
finally,
a tiny little island.
that's
They're
not
doing all
bad
right
at
there.
all. Yeah, not bad at all. It was the 24th Grand Prix to be completed without any classified retirements, and it's the 4th this season.
Is that a record?
It's got to be darn close, because if there's only 20 otherwise for the other 74 years. So, yeah, that was Abu Dhabi. A little boring. Win from pole. No retirements. No yellow flags. A little bit of strategy jeopardy. Otherwise... All right, season-wise, a couple things we want to highlight here on the season. Oscar was 3rd in the final standings, having led the championship longer than any other driver of the season, 15 races. I have a couple stats later that will highlight Oscar for doing so many great things. It's that lull that he hit that
It is.
started
It's that
Baku,
middle piece.
crushed
It's
him.
It's almost like your video vault. He had a little bit of a turd sandwich. He had bread that was great on either end, but
He
the
did.
filling wasn't fantastic right when it mattered.
Lando Norris has the 4th longest career in F1 history before becoming world champion. This one surprised me. It's 152 races behind Jenson Button's 160, Nigel Mansell's 176, and Nico Rosberg's 206, which he won in 2016. I didn't feel like Lando's been around all that long to have become the 4th longest tenured driver to ever finally get their first championship. But I guess if you're going to be champion, it's going to happen pretty quick.
It's a bit of a it's one of those random stats as well that has kind of got nothing to do necessarily with who you are, but also the generation of drivers around you. So if you come in like now, like look at the rookies, you think that the people like Oscar, Lando, Max, Charles, there'll be a lot of them that are probably around for a while. So actually, there's a good chance there's rookies that are going to kick their heels in quote unquote lesser teams for a while or waiting for the number 1 seat for a while. So sometimes you're a little bit of a victim of circumstance as to when you get your shot at the big prize. So don't really think it means anything. I'm going to classify that one as nothing burger. Sorry,
I think
Brian.
it means something. I just don't think it
Why?
means much. It's not a burger.
Who cares how
It's
long you've been around before you win one?
a nothing slider. Lewis Hamilton finishes the season without a podium for the first time in his F1 career.
That stinks. That's bad.
That's bad.
It's bad on two fronts. It's bad on two fronts because it's bad for Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
It's also bad that Ferrari didn't develop a car that could finish. I mean, even when you look at how many times Charles stood on the podium, for a Ferrari car, that is horrendous. No wins this year and handful of podiums. Did Charles get 5, 6
seven.
maybe?
He has seven podiums.
It's not...
That's
All season,
I know.
a team the caliber of Ferrari, 7 podiums all season. That's terrible.
7 for Charles and 0 for Lewis, though.
Oh, yeah. No, like I said, it's bad for Lewis, but horrendous car this year.
Agreed.
They were never even within a sniff of winning any Grand Prix this year. The only false storm was the Chinese sprint for Lewis.
Right.
That he won, but it's sprint. They couldn't develop a car that could go race distance and do it quickly.
No, they could not. Max led the most laps this season, 454. There were 3 drivers with the most retirements, Fernando, Bortoleto, and Liam Lawson. And you remember Fernando's, just for a second on this one, we talked about his slow start, and he had a lot of early season retirements.
Yeah.
And at one point, with 8 races left, Rob and I debated, Fernando and Lance were 1 point apart in the driver's standings. And I said, if Lance finishes ahead of Fernando Alonso, I think he'll retire. He'll never come back. He could not. And he's finished strong, so that wasn't an issue.
That was probably the fire that got him across the line.
I'm sure maybe someone said, hey, these dirty side clowns noticed that you're really close to Lance in the points. He's like, uh-oh. George F. Russell. George Russell did 2 things. First, he finished last in the Destructors' Championship. He had the least amount of damage. Based on the analysis I saw, it was effectively a front wing the whole season. He finished every race. That's pretty amazing for George.
Is he the only one to do that this year?
I believe so. But here's the problem. He was 2 laps down in Monaco. So he ran every lap except for those 2 in Monaco, which Andy sent us a stat a couple races ago. George was by far the furthest ahead. Now, there were a couple people who may have finished a race or 2 classified. I think Oscar was pretty close at one point. But regardless... Russell finished every race and missed all but 2 laps, and it was because of frigging 2-stop Monaco.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't miss 2 laps because he crossed the line and got the checkered flag when the rules dictate the checkered flag is waved. So
yeah, exactly.
He ran every lap he could run.
Do you want to talk about the next one here in terms of DRS?
Yeah, I like this little statoid. We're coming to the end of the DRS era. We're coming to the end of these regs, and we've got another stat later on about goodbye to these regulations. But yeah, goodbye DRS. And the 2 little stats that can go into the history books are the last person to push the button and use DRS was Kimi. And I like this. He was 4 years old when it was first used. He tried an overtake on Tsunoda at the end of the race. He didn't pull it off. So, okay, he was the last person to press the button and use DRS. The last person to pull off an overtake, I believe, was Lance Stroll. So Stroll and Kimi will go into the DRS books of being the last people to both use it and successfully overtake with it. And that's it. We will no longer have any more DRS rants. We will just have rants about the thing that replaces it, most likely.
Wait, so do we have to come up with a new name for our quiz when we get to know listeners? The 100 seconds of...
100 seconds of DRS is done. Next year, it's going to have to be like 100 seconds of... Well, they're going to have you seen the thing
Mom.
about they're going to
They're
come up with a new...
Mom.
No, they're not. Have you not seen the thing?
No, what is it now?
So they've realised that next year's regs have got too many things for people to learn and understand. It's going to be really hard for media and broadcasters because you've got... what did MOM stand for? Maximum overtake mode or something?
Yeah.
And then you've got option X and option Z or something for the one that you can deploy on the corners versus the one that you can deploy on the straights. And it's all this kind of like almost algebra type equations that they expect people to lean into. And then somebody said that the maximum overtake mode or whatever it's called is going to get shortened to MOM. So there's going to be all these MOM jokes everywhere. So now the FIA have come out and said, right, it's not going to be called any of that. We're going to come up with a new name for it. It'll all be announced soon. So, but yes, whatever it is, it won't be DRS. And so we will need 100 seconds.
Your mama is so slow.
100 seconds of your mom. No, we can't have that.
So we will. So two promises. 1, we'll come up with another name for our quiz. And 2, we will explain all of these things well before the 26 cars hit the track. 25 was the first F1 season in history where 2 drivers won 3 races in a row at some point in the season, yet both failed to win the championship. We've had 1 driver win 3 in a row and not be champion, but never have 2 hit a 3-run win streak and then not win the championship. So, You may say, well, maybe that's good. We had, some parity. Did we? Or did we have 3 drivers who just basically did everything all season? In terms of wins, Max 8, Oscar 7, Lando 7. George was there with 2. In terms of poles, Max 8.
Hang on, wait. Yeah. No, you don't just skip over because this one hurts me.
Yeah.
Last year, 4 winners, winners this year, and like you just noted here, last year we had 7. So you're getting close to half the grid. Out of 20 drivers, 7 out of 20 managed to win last year. This year it's 4. And Russell I know it's still 2, but 2 wins, and then the other 3, like you say, are just like miles clear. So while this year gave us the epic 3-way shootout towards the end of the season, it kind of didn't give us a broad brush of being excited about anybody but those 3 winning it, really. Which it's better than the Max domination year. I mean, although that we were in awe of what he did,
23 was a terrible season.
It got hard reviewing it every week with you, trying to work out what the hell we were going to say because Max was off in the distance again. So
then in the last 3 years, I would say one last thing before we sum up the years, but I liked this season's midfield battles. I feel like we didn't have such a low bottom, like where we didn't have a Sauber or an old Williams who could never get a point. We had... the Alpine wasn't great, but Pierre still dragged at places this season. And so to me, I think that the Williams, Haas, Aston Martin, Visa Cash App RB, I think those battles were fun. And each week you never knew who was going to come in where. Sometimes certain cars shine differently at different tracks. But not having a lot of challenges for the race win outside of the 3 guys I just mentioned, Max, Lando, Oscar, I do think dulled and dimmed this season a little compared to 24, where we had 7. So,
in the eye of a neutral, I would say. Obviously, in the eye of a Red Bull or a McLaren fan, it was probably an amazing season. But
yeah, agreed. So I would say 23 was terrible because it just was Max every week, and good for him. But it was really hard to come up with stuff to talk about. 25 was fascinating to the end in terms of who wins a championship, good midfield battles. But I still think 24 was probably my favorite of the last few years.
Just because the unpredictability of not knowing who might win. I agree. We had I agree. We're basically greedy and we want it all. We want a title fight that goes to the wire, and we want everybody able to win a race each time.
Yeah. You know what they're going to do is they're going to set their car up for chaos, for battle, and then we'll be fine. The drivers who had pole this season, Max 8, Lando 7, Oscar 6, and then George and Charles with 2 and 1. So again, top 3. And then the podiums, Lando 18 podiums, Oscar 16, Max 15. Just tremendous. But I will say the person who really maybe doesn't get enough credit, George with 9. That's pretty tremendous, pretty consistent for a guy who finished every race. Charles with 7. We already talked about Lewis with 0, and then Kimi with 3. I think that's great for a rookie with 3 podiums. I know George had 3 times as many, but still, and one of them was a second place. Carlos had 2, dragged that Williams around twice. We loved seeing that. And then, of course, rookie podium for Isaac, but the big one, breaking the streak there, Hulkenberg's British Grand Prix podium.
Yep,
even if 100%. They didn't celebrate a lot with him, I still loved it. And then finally, as we kind of look at some of the last for this season, teammate qualifying head-to-heads. I am a big fan of comparing how you qualified against your teammate. Not the race, not the finish, because the quali, it's just you, the car, and you got a teammate in the same car going out to set a time. McLaren was tied 12-12. Oscar and Lando,
shock horror, hey?
12-12. That's
nothing illustrates the 2 different approaches to the driver's title than a couple of stats that we're going to read out here.
Well, and when we did the season, when we started, you and I think said there were 3 driver pairings we really liked. That was one. We liked the Williams with Carlos and Alex, 13-10 for Carlos. So very close as well. And we liked Ferrari with Charles and Lewis, 19-5 for Charles. Not a good rookie season for Lewis at Ferrari. First season for Lewis at Ferrari. I know he'll do better next year, but really not great. And the last one that I'd highlight here that really jumped out at me, well, there's 2 of them. One's not a surprise, and the other's not a surprise. Max 22-0 on Yuki because he had Liam for a couple races. 22-0.
It's actually 24-0.
Well, he's 24-0 on Leah.
For him as the season, as in him
correct.
over his teammate, whoever that teammate is. That is crazy, but probably expected.
And Fernando 24-0 on Lance. So while his car may not finish the race, he may not get enough points.
Wow. And this is what I like looking at. So we then add this other one of the teammate head-to-head in point percentage of how many points of the team did they score. Now, as you would imagine, Lando and Oscar, 12-12 in qualifying, 51-49 in Lando's favour. I mean, really, you cannot get the definition of two equal drivers almost any more than that. They split the qualifying and they basically brought home half of their points. At the other end of the spectrum, you've got Max up there with 93% of the points for Red Bull, which you think sounds like, oh my God, he's crushed it. Not as much as Mr. Gasman with 100% of Alpine's points. But the one that really stuck out for me, almost, and I haven't checked every single one here, Brian, but almost every single percentage goes with the driver that outqualified his teammate brought home the biggest slice of the points over the season. And I think it is every single one, apart from one team. Yeah, it is. I've just eyeballed it again. Okay. Bortoleto beat Hulkenberg 12-11 in qualifying. So as a rookie, he takes home the bragging rights of out-qualifying the established driver, Hulkenberg, which is amazing for Bortoleto. It really is. But then when you look down at the points scored for Sauber this year, and I know probably that podium had a big swing of it because of the number of points that come in third, but 73% of the points Hulk scored this year. And it's the only one that bucks the trend. Everybody else, even if the gap is slightly smaller, no, it's not close. Everyone else, even if the gap is slightly smaller than their head-to-head in quali was, it's still the same winner. The person, so Alonso, actually, although Alonso, to be fair, 24 times he outqualified Stroll, but it's actually 63-37 for points. So Stroll was able to recover and score a decent chunk of points, even if he qualified worse than Alonso. So those two, the two green machines, Aston and Sauber, is kind of that caught my eyes. Like, okay.
Totally agree. Fascinating. Last couple things as we look at it. Overtakes of the month. And every month, the Crypto.com Overtake of the Month is highlighted. The site is a little bit busted because they have some weird months and reruns of months, so I think they may have a problem. But regardless, I still mine the depths of what's available. 3 times this season, Oscar Piastri won the Overtake of the Month. 3 times. Twice on Lewis Hamilton, once on Lando Norris. 3 times. In second, Lewis Hamilton. So let's find a positive for Lewis. He had twice in June and July the Overtake of the Month. And he had the rare feat of having one on Liam Lawson, but then he got the Overtake of the Month on Russell and Ocon from Silverstone. I don't remember that particular lap 18. I'm going to go back and watch it. But that's really cool. So Lewis, the second most overtakes of the month award winners. And then Max Charles and Ollie Behrman for his move on Max in Mexico. Do you remember that? I do. It was lap 6 when Max and Lewis had just battled. And then Ollie's like, well, I'll get in here on the world champion, and had a beautiful overtake. So I love the fact that when you look back at some of these things, you see guys who really put it together. And if you look at Oscar, March and April, November, overtakes of the month. In the middle, turd sandwich. And then, the Destructors Championship won by Alpine. Not only won by Alpine, and you'd say, well, Colapinto, right? Yeah, he was their highest scoring driver in terms of damage. Do you know who was second and really close behind him? Jack Doohan. Jack Doohan ran 5 races. Jack Doohan he had more damage than Hamilton, Piastri, Alonso, Sainz, Gasman, Antonelli, Albon, Ocon, Hulk, and George Russell. Jack Doohan acquitted himself fairly well with all the crashes, apparently. But at the top of the list this season was Gabriel Bortoleto, above Lando Norris. Remember, Bortoleto had a really rough Brazil. I mean, that his Brazil weekend alone.
I was actually surprised to see Lance Stroll not further up, because remember the one where he absolutely crashed it into millions of pieces. They spent ages trying to stick it together again so he could get out for qualifying, or the race, and then he binned it within about a lap again and smashed it again. I was like,
I do love that.
When you fully wreck a car, that's usually ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. But
yeah, exactly. But so yes, Alpine won, Bortoleto won in that regard. And Rob, could we compare a little bit last year points to this year points in the drivers?
We can. I just wanted to say the one that caught my eye that I was surprised at in the Destructors was Ferrari were second. Okay, fine, they didn't have a great year, but McLaren were third.
Well, Lando was overall in second place, and sometimes it's not the driver's fault, right? And when things break and go bang, but we saw him retire in Holland. And then we watched him bin it right in
Canada,
front of us
yeah.
in Canada, right
Yeah.
in front of our eyes. And there were some other situations I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah,
but he wasn't as
I know
clean
you're
as I
right.
remember.
Everything you're saying is right. It's just if you asked me to name the Destructors Championship, there's no way I would have gone and put two top teams like Ferrari and McLaren, second and third, on the podium. I was like, no, it's got to be someone lower down that crashes all the time. But there we are. Yeah, so just look quickly, just to round out before we move to the awards. So looking at last year, Verstappen won with 437 points. Norris won with 423 this year. Norris was second with 374 and Verstappen was with 421. So the top two, obviously makes sense. The points have been shared around a bit more. So the title wasn't decided by as many points, but definitely shared around a bit more. If you look at the fall off, we were already down into the 200s by the time we were down to fourth last time. And like you said, George quietly went around getting podiums and a couple of wins. He was like up at 319, which would have been higher than last year. So yeah, just interesting seeing how kind of the points seemed a little bit more shared around.
Yeah.
But then do fall off a cliff a little bit quicker this year. It's like there's a whole bunch of people that kind of accumulated a decent total, and then we kind of get down to Antonelli and Hamilton. It's like, boom. But
what is it like?
boom. Yeah.
Thank you.
But anyway, and then the final thing that we also want to say, as we also not only say goodbye to the 2025 season, we also say goodbye to the ground effect era. We're going to be going to completely new regs next year. Unsurprisingly, if Hamilton and Mercedes absolutely dominated the turbo hybrid era, then Red Bull / Max Verstappen dominated the turbo hybrid. The ground effect. My old eyes can't read this. So they had 2,659 points during the ground effect era, miles clear of Ferrari with 2010. McLaren, go back to the year 1960 for their points total. Mercedes, 1861, going back even further in time. And then a huge drop off. Like those lot are all within like whatever it is, 1,000 points, I guess, from Merc to Red Bull. But then you've got was it Aston Martin down on 518, Alpine on 380, Racing Bulls 198, Williams 190, Haas 186, and Sauber 145. And it feels like nearly all those points were this year.
Right. Totally agree.
So, some of the drivers didn't seem to like it as much. They were joking in the final cool-down room that at least they won't have to drive those cars again. So let's see what we get next year. Sometimes it's be careful what you wish for. I kind of enjoyed the ground effect era. Definitely in the first couple of years, we definitely saw closer racing than we'd seen before with all this turbulent air that was making overtaking almost impossible. So I'd love somebody to do the stats to tell us if there were more overtakes in these regs than there were in previous regs, because they both had DRS, so that's comparable. But...
Yeah, and we will say goodbye to this idea.
We should do. Who knows what active aero's going to do? It'll be the front of the... It's like it'll be a fucking Bronco instead.
Oh, all right. Closing out the
end of season awards.
Let's do it. I'm very excited to offer the 2025 Dirty Side of the Track end of season awards. Yeah. All right. Rob, start us off because you kind of kicked this off on socials and we had some great participation.
We did. Last year when we did the social media vote, we got around 60 votes, I think, something like that. This year we pushed as hard as we could, and thank you to everybody who shared this online. And also, friend of the show, Hells, who had been on a previous episode, did a sterling job of sharing. Every day I posted and spammed it, it got shared. And I love the poetic nature of this. I took a screen grab of it when I closed the voting down, just so Brian believes me, and put it in our notes. We had 77, or what I'm going to call a Valtteri Bottas number of responses.
I love it. I already played the sounder. I'd do it again.
So, now, we came up with a number of topics, and then, not that I told anybody I did this, because no one seems to like AI these days. For each of these categories, I went through and asked AI if it could come up with a suggestion of the 4 things that would be deemed votable in these categories. So it's not me and Brian coming up with these. We came up with the actual awards, but then the 4 choices for each one, AI came up with. I vetted it, because I'll tell you one of them, it got wrong, and I had to ask it. And it went, oh yeah, well done, you caught me. That's the one thing I hate that about AI, where it tries to make out that you're smarter and, oh, good catch. In other words, I screwed up. But anyway, Most memorable moment, but we made sure outside of winning of any titles. The 4 options that were put forward were Lando's first win at Silverstone, Kimi's first podium in front of us in Canada, Hulk's first podium at Silverstone, or Hadjar being comforted by Anthony Hamilton after his Australia crash. So coming in 4th with just 2.6% of the votes, Kimi Antonelli's first podium in Canada. Us being there did not raise the voting for that one, Brian.
What?
9% for Hadjar being comforted by Anthony Hamilton. Second on the podium, I thought this was going to be a landslide. Second was Lando's first win at Silverstone.
What?
Which means first was the Hulk. Now, Lando came in, think about it, 2% for Kimi, 9% for Hadjar. What do you think the percentage was between those? Do you think it was close?
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be wrong. 27% for Lando, and 61% of the vote went for the Hulk standing on the podium.
So basically, listeners and social media all agree that Hulk and podium was a big deal.
Big deal, yeah. Most controversial moment. Jack Doohan being dropped so early. Max driving into George. Liam Lawson getting promoted to his dream job in Red Bull, then instantly being dropped back down to Racing Bulls. And Horner being let go by Red Bull. We've got a few of these to get through, so I won't take as long going through all these, but this one was close. 18% to Horner, 23% to Jack Doohan, 24% to Liam Lawson, and 33% Max driving into George.
He should go back to 33. That's his number.
Spanish Grand Prix, wasn't it?
Sure.
Yes, yeah. Biggest disappointment of the season, the second Red Bull seat. Alpine, Colapinto, Lewis Hamilton. This hurts.
Oh, God.
So Colapinto, 8%. Alpine, 21%. The second Red Bull seat, 28.6%. And the rest of the vote, like 43-odd%, Lewis Hamilton. Oh, that hurts. And we just said, first season without a podium, so I guess it's not a shock. Best race of the year. Silverstone, which gave us a Lando win and a Hulk on the podium. Brazil, the masterclass from Max. Canada, a win for George. First debut podium for a first podium for Kimi, a McLaren collision, and the dirty side were there. I'm not trying to push the vote there, but that's how that was written out. And Australia, the wet start and drying epic race. Yeah, thanks, social media. 4% for Canada.
Oh, come on. It was a great race. And we were there.
22% for Australia, 30% for Brazil, 44% for Silverstone.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay. Biggest screw-up of the season. This one actually was closer than I thought it was going to be. The double disqualification for McLaren in Vegas. The double disqualification for Ferrari in China. I forgot that. I had to fact-check AI that had happened, and then I remembered that it did happen. The 2 mandated pit stop experiment in Monaco. Or McLaren's decision not to pit under the safety car in Qatar. Those were the biggest screw-up of the season nominees. Who do you think won it?
I mean, I would have said Monaco, but I'm guessing I'm wrong.
Yeah, you are wrong. So coming in at least they got let off the hook here. 2.5% went for Ferrari's disqualification in China.
Yeah, it's old. People can't remember that it happened. It's
21% for the Monaco pit stop debacle. 35 for McLaren's double disqualification in Vegas, and 41.6 for their decision not to pit in Qatar.
They willfully made a decision that was bad versus the
flexibility.
Monaco things. Yeah. Papaya rules, we got flexibility.
Okay, biggest tinfoil hat theory of the season.
Oh, boy.
Number 1, McLaren didn't want Oscar to win the title, so they sabotaged his season.
Oh, boy.
Number 2, Ferrari were favouring Charles, so they purposely did not listen to any of Lewis's advice. 3, Max was going to join Mercedes, as was proven by him walking to that helicopter with Toto, which was photoshopped. McLaren, I thought this might get recency bias. McLaren had their super secret, invisible from the FIA, skid block heaters. Okay. Ferrari not liking Lewis, tiny amount, like 5%. Next up was McLaren, their skid block, nearly 16%. Max going to Mercedes with 70%, 63% McLaren sabotaged Oscar's season. Thank you, Internet. Thank you for agreeing. That was the most ridiculous tinfoil hat of the season. Biggest surprise of the season, Max's resurgence in the title. Williams taking 5th in the Constructors' title. 2 rookies on the podium this year, so Kimi and Isaac. Not 3, as ChatGPT initially told me, where it gave Gabby Bortoletto a podium, which
Wow,
then
I
made me
guess I
look
missed that
twice. And I
one.
was like, oh, wow, I must have missed that one. I went and researched it and found no. I asked it again, are you sure Gabrielle Bortoletto appeared on the podium? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get that right. Yeah, you damn straight you didn't. And then only 4 race winners. You already had that. This was one of your stats, that we only managed 4 different race winners this season. 10% for the 4 different race winners. 14% for getting 2 rookies this year, which means it's either going to be Williams finishing 5th or Max's late show in the driver's title. Pretty close-ish.
Yeah.
Which one do you think took it in our final award?
I'm gonna say Max in that charge.
Yeah, I would have said Max as well. 44% went to Williams, resurgence from previous years and securing 5th and essentially best of the rest in there. So there we are. Thank you, everybody that voted on those. So we got the 3 kind of phases of awards here. We had the fan-voted ones. Then me and Brian are going to go through a couple of dirty side ones that we're going to award. We've got a couple of random ones where we're going to ask each other for awards. And then we're going to finish this year scientifically on our crowning our The Pits Award and our King of the Pits. Last year we did it kind of anecdotally. This year we've been tracking the score from every single race all season so we can mathematically declare our King of the Pits for this year. So let's just go into ours then, Brian. The first one we wanted to discuss was Dirty Side Rookie of the Year.
Would you like to go
over
first?
to you, because I've been I've been monologuing
All
on
right.
this blooming Google form, so you can do this.
I'll go first, and then you can go first on the next one. All right. So, Rookie of the Year. I thought long and hard about this, and if we go back to our rookie ranking episode, we had Franco and Liam not on our test nor reserve driver board, nor on our first and second driver board. And I'm going to stick with that. I don't think enough has changed since we did that episode. I think Kimi and his 3 podiums is hard to ignore, but I also think his teammate had 9, and he has a better car than others, and he also disappeared for quite a while this season at times. Gabby, man, I wouldn't say he finished the season as strong as he was going in the middle of the year. I feel like he did fine, but that Brazil double crash did not do him any favors for his confidence. He just wasn't quite the same for the last 4 or 5 races as he had been maybe the 8 before, where he was constantly surprising. So for me, I'm now kind of down to Ollie or Isaac. And Ollie Behrman, that Mexico run, the way he finished the season, his overtake on Max, the pace where he's actually saying, in Abu Dhabi practice, this car is perfect. I loved seeing all of that. And I think his future is incredibly bright. And I think Ferrari is watching him very carefully. But we already know that Red Bull's watching Isaac because they already told him you're going to be in the second seat next year. He took that team that was not consistent. He crashed before his first race. We already talked about the Anthony Hamilton hug. And then he just continued a charge of improvement throughout the year. Was it every race over every race? No. But if you look at it at the macro level, it was a continual stream of improvement where it was a surprise when he wasn't in the points. And that's pretty hard to say for someone on a Red Bull, junior team. So for me, even though it's only 1 podium versus Kimi's 3, I understand the stat difference. I still, personally, Rookie of the Year, I'm naming Isaac Hadjar. Rob, agree, disagree?
I was going to say, I love to argue with you on this pod. It's one of my most favorite things is to just argue with you. But for this, I'd be arguing for the sake of arguing because it's Isaac. I mean, the Australia moment could have broken you as a driver. It really could, because it's these drivers, they got, and I mean this in the nicest way, they've all got big egos. They all have to, because they've got to trust themselves that I'm one of the 20 best drivers in the world and I deserve my place here. So to crash on the way to the podium, it was on the way to the podium, wasn't it?
On the formation lap,
Not even get to take part in your first race. That took a lot of bouncing back from, and boy oh boy did he bounced all the way back up into that Red Bull seat. So he deserves it because he was Rookie of the Year for me.
Since we've agreed there, can I just also say we're biased? We both seem to like this young man way more than we probably should, and he was car 12 on the grid in Canada right in front of us, and he waved our direction, and I think we're smitten ever since. And is there some level of bias?
Actually, we've been singing his praises before then. In actual fact, we've been singing his praises for the year before we joined the grid, when we played the video, not played it, but we had it in the vault of the one in the Monaco tunnel in F2.
Yes.
When he swerved around the car with light reflexes. So We've been following this kid's trajectory since before it was cool.
All right, Rob, over to you for race of the year.
Race of the year. If you were worried that you were going to be a little bit biased, then I've got a whole heap of sentimental bias, and I'm about to unleash it now because it should be. It should be Silverstone. It should be my home Grand Prix. Lando getting his first win. Hulk on the podium. I held my breath for about the entire final 10 laps because I wanted Lando to win and Hulk to podium so badly. I almost passed out through holding my breath for so long. But, being in Canada this year, watching the race, seeing a crash happen in front of us, and then making the pilgrimage to the crash damage on the wall. For me, if you just asked me what was your favourite race of the year, my snapshot decision without even thinking about it is Canada. Because I was there, and it was amazing. And it should be Silverstone. For all logical reasons, it should be Silverstone, and I'll let you decide what you think actually is. I'll let you award this because I think I'm being too sentimental in the fact that I love being at a race. We saw a crash. We touched the damage on the wall. I've basically touched Lando Norris's car, essentially. And we hung out with Paul and had great times having beers and everything. I mean, so I can't look past Canada. I'm sorry.
The hard part is, are we answering this in the sense of someone watching it on TV or our personal experiences?
Our award is called the Dirty Side Race of the Year.
Yeah, Canada.
Make of that what you will, Brian.
I'm fine with Canada winning, but can I just even add a couple things? Because I had
wasn't
originally
Canada. Which one would you pick as an actual race?
Silverstone, and here's why. You already nailed Lando's first home win and Hulk's podium. However, it went from dry to wet. And if you remember, Piastri had that crazy safety car infringement penalty where he braked and then gassed. That was wild. Do you remember debating that? And then the rain got real bad, and Isaac went into the back of Kimi, he ran right into the back of someone you did not see until the last minute. Like, you watched it, and he was out. And it was just utter chaos. And we obviously had an overtake of Lewis on a couple people that is worthy of the overtake of the month. I had Silverstone for all those reasons, but because it's our own podcast, I fully 100% endorse Canada as the winner.
Well done, Canada.
All right. So the next award, Best Team Radio. And as I'm wont to do, I'm going to present this to Rob, but I said I'll find like 3 or so. I used the or so part. So here we go, because I got a lot of them here. One of them's a little long. They're all mainly short.
How many have we got, Brian?
9.
I've got to remember 9 and then pick my favorite team radio.
Keep remembering your favorite. One's long.
Okay.
I'm going to do the long one first and all the rest are short, okay? But here's the long one. This is a special one. And warning, there may be one bad word here if you have a child with you or something. But all the rest are clean. Just the bad word comes up real fast. And then you can put the audio back up in about 10 seconds.
I've got a fucking McLaren up my ass. Want me to let pass? No, thank you. Just checking.
So this is George in Mexico.
I'm happy to give the position back to Kim if I can't overtake Behrman. We're just compromising both our races here. So we got Verstappen in the pit lane. I want much more pace here, guys.
He is unrelenting in his desire to swap positions.
0.4. So rear surface temperatures are sky high. George, let's get these under control. The car much quicker than ours. I'm trying to hold position. I've got much more pace than Kimi here, and we can fight for a podium. I'm happy to give the position back if I don't achieve it, but my tyres are just getting stuck here.
So George in Mexico, it's the only one that's long because as I went through preparing for this, I loved his unrelenting argument.
This is I got to pick this, right? Don't lead the witness.
Here we go.
Let's just get through the other 18,000 clips.
George in Canada.
Talk to me.
Just waiting on Lewis.
Talk to me.
Yes, George, yes. That's Paul.
So I won't say anything, but I just enjoyed the talk to me. And then Lando in Vegas, when he was going to the grid with Max behind him in the title fight, and Max is backing off.
It'll be 5 burnouts.
Yeah, he's taking the piss with how big of a gap he's leaving. It's way over the allowed allowance.
Yeah, we see that, Lando.
Yeah, come on, he's just taking the piss here. You can't do this.
This one I had to include. It's so cringeworthy. This is from last week.
Lando, this is Zach from McLaren. Is this the World Champion Hotline?
Sorry, that's horrible.
That's great.
When Lewis was new to Ferrari, he had a little run-in with his engineer early on in the season.
You guys, this is not good teamwork, that's all I'm going to say. In China, I got out of the way when you're on a different strategy.
Understood. We swap the cars.
Have a tea break while you're at it. Come on.
And then it resulted in this later in the same race.
Science 1.4 behind.
Going to let pass it on.
Lando in Austria.
I need some pace. Please help.
Please help. This is one of my favorites and the leader in the clubhouse for me. I'm not trying to bias you, but Fernando.
Gosh. If you speak to me every lap, I will disconnect the radio.
And then two to close with Charles. They're so good. I'm going to close with the best one.
Well done, Charles.
Thank you, Brian.
I mean, that's classic, but none better than this one from Charles this season.
I have the seat full of water, like full of water.
Must be the water.
Let's add that to the words of wisdom.
That was the one I was waiting for. I was thinking he's got to have. It's up there with the George Sweat in the visor. If that was my radio of the season last year, this one of my seat is full of water, and then that must be the water. What? No wonder Ferrari were just such an absolute cluster this year, and the best they can offer to answer for "I have water in my seat" is yes, that will be the water.
Do I need to take a tea break?
That's my winner.
That's the winner, the water?
Yeah, the water. Lewis's tea break one, I was going to take it, but then I remembered the Charles one. Right, okay, so that's our radio message of the year. And then I'm assigning to you, I put them in the... this one you sprung on me. I'd not heard those 9, but it's easier to react to hearing things. I put my 5 selections for best special livery of the season in the Notion, so you could take a look at it and remind yourself. We had Haas in Japan with the cherry blossom all over it. We had the Red Bull in Japan, where they went back to the white bull, which was we both loved. We had the Racing Bulls in Miami, where we thought that was Chef's Kiss pink. It didn't lose any of its imaging and...
Sorry. Keep going.
It didn't lose any of its visibility, and they had the Chef's Kiss top of the can as their wheel covers. We had the Williams Retro in Kota, where they went back to their 2002 livery. And then the only one to appear twice on the list, and there were many more special liveries, but these are the 5 I picked for Brian, was then the Williams Driven by Words in Brazil, which was the Gulf sort of papaya and Gulf powder blue livery. So... which one of those is the Dirty Side special livery of the season, Brian?
All of those are great. The white Red Bull in Japan is the number 2. And that means the winner is the Haas in Japan. And yes, I'm playing their video of the drop of it. It just gets me every time, because just wait. You can see the Haas. You can see the colors. The beautiful rose blossoms. And then, let's drive it fast through the streets.
So okay, if you were... Right,
I play this in my... I'm trying to turn it off. I play this in my house so often, because when the bass comes in...
so what would have been your radio of the year?
What would have been my radio of the year? Fernando.
So basically you're saying I'm wrong and the right radio is Fernando,
No,
right?
I mean, Charles is great.
No.
I would have gone Fernando. Who would you have gone livery?
I was going to say, because you're wrong, because
I knew you were only asking that to say that.
I know. Haas won the best photo shoot special livery of the year award. Yeah. Without question, it was the most beautiful thing when in a still, but it lost all of the detail in motion.
It was a pink blur. It was a pink blur.
Yeah, it was. So that dropped it down for me. I actually fell in love with, and they were later in the year, because I would say I liked that white bull. I thought that was really good looking car, and I'm glad you made it your number 2. But actually, it's the Williams that were tugging at my heartstrings. Oh, wow. Maybe because of kind of going back to the 2002. I loved that white nose on the Williams. I thought it was amazing. I'm always a sucker for a Gulf livery, and I really like that one in Brazil. So I probably would have gone for one of the Williams boys, but anyway,
we're adding that video, the Haas video of that livery, to the video vault. So for people,
that was your special one that's going in later.
Yes,
okay, got you. Right. Now, do we have a drum roll? What have you got on your soundboard that could build tension? Don't play the Benny
going
Hill
like
music.
this.
Okay, play the nearest thing you've got to something that you think. I'll put you on the spot now with your big fat fingers to try and find. Oh, we haven't played that for a while.
Logan the Sergeant hasn't been around.
Yeah, poor old Logan Sargent. Right, we counted up the votes of all of our ongoing The Pits and King of the Pits awards. We will start with the lower of the two, who was The Pits. So if you have the music ready, Brian, fire up for one last time this season.
You're The Pits.
The entire 2025 season. So, remember, there are... What are there? How many races were there? 24?
24.
Me and you both voted, so there were 48 votes up for grabs.
48.
I would say we obviously spread around our pits all over the place, because coming in third with 4 votes was Liam Lawson. Coming in second with 5 votes was Yuki.
Wait.
And taking the crown of The Pits with 6 votes, Pirelli.
I love that Pirelli.
We both went on tyre rants enough times this year to outvote any driver mistakes. So obviously I was looking at this. There were loads that had got like 1 or 2 votes because, it's race by race that we give this out. 4th on this list was actually Sky TV direction. So we've got
complaints.
A driver sandwich between Pirelli and Sky TV bread.
Can I say, if I were independently wealthy and money were no issue, I would actually go out and buy, even if they're not used, I'd somehow find a way to get a C6 tire, and then I'd go back to last year and I'd get the C0 tire, and I'd get a blue full wet tire, which was used 1 time this season, and none last year. And I would have those 3 in my room, and I'd say, these are the most pointless things in the world.
Right, okay. Now for the big one. The Dirty Side King of the Pits for 2025.
You're the king of the pits.
Okay. This one is kind of actually nowhere near as surprising as Pirelli. But in 3rd spot, standing on the podium for the King of the Pits season award, Oscar Piastri with 10 votes. Standing on the 2nd step of the podium, so at least he didn't in real life, Lando Norris with 11 votes, because standing at the top... this actually surprised me, because I thought we'd given out... I thought sometimes we didn't like giving too many eulogies to Max. Max, 12 votes. He is our King of the Pits for this year. And actually, he got most of those votes in the same way that you said that he had that run of 10 consecutive podiums and squished his big title charge in at the end. Before the summer break, he was nowhere near our King of the Pits award. We both awarded it a couple of times in the last few races. And so well done, Max. You missed out on the WDC, but what you picked up was the big deal. You are the Dirty Side King of the Pits. Congratulations.
I'm not too surprised by this because of how great he was in the second half, but I still am surprised. I will say, going back, I would like to annotate the episode after Brazil where I said his, engine overcut was almost as good as his wet weather drive at Brazil the year prior. That, obviously, I was wrong. It was a great drive, Max's masterclass, but in retrospect, the 24 Brazilian Grand Prix where he goes through the rain and just is unbelievable. You can't. That's stuff of legends. So,
just as a couple of tiny little things that caught my eye that had to go and remember why we'd done certain things. King of the Pits is usually obvious. In Canada, we just awarded the King of the Pits to Canada. Because we were just so blown away, and the Pits that week was the only week all season. I'm wrong that there were votes for everybody, because we said that we'd had such a great weekend that the Pits was nothing. The one race of the season where we did not award the Pits, that caught my eye. That was funny. I already mentioned the Sky TV thing. The other one was you. You were the only person this season to award the Pits to Adrian Newey. Back in Austria, you gave the Pits Adrian Newey.
All right then.
And the other one that caught my eye, it was me. I don't know what he did, but I gave Sainz the pits twice. I was obviously beating up on Carlo a couple of times. Maybe I just expected more of him. I wasn't quite sure why. We both gave a couple to Stroll. You also beat up Aston a couple of times. You weren't big fans of Aston. You were also the only one to give McLaren the pits, but that was Qatar because of the screw-up where I gave it to Pirelli instead because their tyres were stupid. But yeah, it's fun.
Flexibility, Rob. Flexibility is the name of the game here.
I'm glad we did it this way this year because it just kind of gave us something to look back on rather than just maybe recency bias. And then, just one final little note because, this is like the Dirty Side Gala the week after the title. I'm ready to accept my Rob versus Brian trophy whenever you're ready, Brian.
Go for it. We can do this. Never.
ChatGPT is going to make me a trophy, and I'm going to put it on a poster and put it online. But that's it. That is the season 2025 season, and we are apparently recording next week.
Or not. Maybe not.
Maybe not. What we're basically going to do is that at some point we're going to take a couple of weeks off. We will not be off your podcast downloads because we're going to look at, like we did last year, me and Brian will both pick one of our favorite episodes from our back catalogue and we'll give it another airing. We won't pick Valtteri again. Come on. We won't dine out on that one again.
This year.
And then we'll be back in the new year for season 5 of The Dirty Side, which is insane. And as some people saw on social media where I shared my little mashup of the Dirty Side logo and the Cadillac logo, while that is a bit of fun, we're also going to do... We haven't quite worked out the feature fully. We haven't even named it properly yet. I think working title is either Cadillac Chronicles or Cadillac Corner. Sure yet. But we're going to trace, America's leading Formula One podcast, American team on the grid. We're going to try and trace their season. That's not to say we're going to be a Cadillac podcast and overwhelmingly bias those, but we are just going to track what it's like to have a new team on the grid, and maybe even Pit Lane Paul will come on and give us some insights as to what happens as a new team tries to prepare for their first season on the grid. So I think that's really it, isn't it? It's any other ideas that anybody would like to see us cover as part of our regular format is appreciated. We've actually got a bizarrely long list now of people that want to come on, which is fantastic. So we'll use January through to March to scooch as many of you on as we can. But yeah, it's just been brilliant, Brian. Another season I've really, really enjoyed doing this. It makes me smile every weekend, despite having to look at your face. No, I mean, thank you very much for doing the podcast with me.
Agreed, man. I love doing this. It is a highlight every weekend, a chance to talk about the sport that we both love so much and to meet so many people across the globe who also love F1, and an opportunity for me to explain to my family today via text why we had subscribed to our 74th streaming service, Apple TV, but yet how me not subscribing to F1 TV made it okay. No one asked for the actual cost differential. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But F1, man, there's nothing better. We appreciate all you listening, Rob. I really do love doing this with you. Pit Lane Paul, thank you for always being so amazing. We'll be back soon. We can't wait to talk to you with something in 1 week's time. Be well, be safe, everybody.